So the Palm Avenue project is on a long, narrow site which is oriented like such, almost along the cardinal axis, and this would be the east, that would be the west, the south. That's your sun path. What we've done is we've placed a long, narrow building block, which is the main house. We have a separate section for staff with a staff block and a vehicular entrance and a service entrance. But your main access is right here off the street, where you're on a corner, so those are your neighbors, and you have a surrounding green piece of land. What we have here is one olive tree, which sort of is the beacon to the house, and you have a series of poplars. Around here, and then there are a few palms. What you have further is a stairwell which becomes a beacon, and we have the main skylight. That's all that there is to it. In addition, we have a series of green hedges. So you enter from the street onto a little space where you can alight. Now that's your street, and that's your vehicles and staff. As you enter, you are greeted by an element of the entrance. What we have is space for the family here, which looks out to a neighbouring plot and some greens, but has a double height space and a beautiful skylight. Here, as you enter, is the formal living space, which is about 8 meters by 8 meters and 8 meters tall, with a sculptural spiral that takes you through 3 levels: formal dining upstairs, a den downstairs, and the formal living area, which is overlooking the olive tree and overlooking bougainvillea here. So the living space, which is the bedrooms, etc., are all spilling out and sort of opening into one space that allows the formal area to be contained, and the guest areas to be contained, and family living space sort of spills out into one. That's on the ground floor. Well, upstairs you have a double height space, so you'll see the ceiling continues all the way. So you can actually you can see the expanse of the house from the double height space, and you have the formal dining right here, which then again connects with that with the formal living space downstairs, but you can still see the family space from the formal dining space. So there is some acoustic connection. There is a guest bedroom and a second bedroom upstairs with a little terrace which is overlooking green and overlooking the street on the other side. So the house pulls back, and there is some sense of privacy as you go along. This is a straight flight of steps that leads and connects to the 2 or 3 spaces odd. And the formal dining area, as you can see, is just a a very, very long table with, eclectic collection of furniture pieces that were prototypes that were done for some of our projects, and some iconic pieces that were made for celebrated architects in the past. A little bar and a sort of like an open kitchen right there, and a small little lounge which overlooks the formal dining area. As you enter, you alight at the off the street, straight into the house, while there is a terrace and a balcony that gives you this, an angle of repose. What we've done is we haven't taken the parapets very high, but we've kept the parapets low, but we've sort of set them back with a glazed handrail. So there is, there is an unobstructed view, but there is a sense of privacy, and the house also sort of tends to lighten up as you go along. As you come up, you'll see that there is a stairwell which is sort of marked black in the model, but it's actually reflective, and there is one skylight which goes straight down into the family space. What we have is planned for a pool at the back, and the staff area has its own set of access for everything, including electromechanical services and a restricted staff access. So we have a couple of terraces which are basically spill outs. That's 1, 2 here and a third one there. This becomes a sort of aberration in the composition. We've also got a few rainwater downtakes which are in stainless steel and a sort of celebration of landscape. Of course, everything finally overlooks and focuses, the formal spaces focus onto an olive tree that's right here in the landscape. An important part of your material strategy, of our material strategy, is to minimize waste and optimize consumption in the making of a project. So for this one, we have kept our material palette fairly simple, organic, and limited. So what we have is a lot of white paint, a certain amount of oak wood, a quartzite stone, kadapa stone, and 2 or 3 different textures and colors in fabric. This house has a ventilated elevation which is made of, which from the outside in is a series of interlocking timber panels which are thermo-treated so they don't age very quickly, mounted on an aluminum and steel framework which then has a waterproofing membrane and a thermal insulation membrane and an air cavity through which we sometimes run a few service lines. Our elevation is made with thermo-treated pine, and these are interlocking panels that are then mounted on a cladding framework, but as they lock, they resist water ingress and form the first wear layer of our ventilated facade. Okay.